SAP related automation work. It's called HyperAutomation. In a typical use case, there would be sales order, purchase order, procurement order, and packing slip, and various other ERP orders that gets into the system. It's a cumbersome system in some cases where you would have manual entries, Excel files, and data would get lost, and there would be room for error as well. Using this hyper automation along with Microsoft Power Platform and SAP connector, we could eliminate all that. Plus, we also automate the entire process. We bring those process time from 15 to 18 hours to less than 30 minutes with 95% accuracy as well. Some of the use cases that you would see today are listed here on the right side. I have my SAP instance with EPM connected to HANA at the backend. It's a cloud version of SAP. However, you could integrate with your on-prem Azure or on-prem SAP system using Premium Connector as well as on the SAP on Azure system as well. We will be updating some of those master deck records using AI Builder and artificial intelligence in terms of scanning those orders automatically and just inputting the relevant field that the SAP system expects. And then there is also a multi-approval process where you could see how those entire process can be approved via Teams, Outlook, and as well as with Power Automate Cloud Flow functionalities. There's also an embedded chatbot where you could query your SAP system from chatbot to get those details that you wanted to. Plus, there's also Power BI integration within this demo app. Just want to give a quick overview of what I just said in terms of the architecture. From left to right, we are using Power Automate, Power Apps, and SAP connectors in the middle to integrate with the SAP system. I did list out some of those SAP system that's possible within the scope. And you could also bring in an on-prem system using your Premium Connector and IT on-prem gateway, and then plug those data using OData services into SAP. These are the prerequisites. I'm using most of these functionality here in this demo. Dataverse subscription for Azure, storing those data and files, key vault for security of the bot that's going to run, and of course Power Virtual Agent as part of the Power Platform offering, Power BI and Teams O365 as part of Modern Workplace offering. And I'm also using Order Processing AI Builder to intelligently gather the necessary result automatically. And none of this would be manual driven, it's all automatic at the backend. And we'll also see how to use Power Automate Desktop to update monotonous unattended record punching in the system as well at the end of this demo. So let's get over to the demo site and see how it all works together. I'm going to use the web client here for this demo because it's a very complex use case. And I'm going to open the Power App. It's a Canvas app with a lot of integration at the back end. And Coke already has successful use cases in Kona, United, TCCC in the past. There is also use cases that's going to go live in Vietnam for Coke bottlers in Swire entity. Plus, we also went live recently with the Singapore and Malaysia bottlers on KFC, Pizza Hut, file processing as well. So what you see here is just an inspiration from that use case. On the right, you have various menus that the user can operate. Assume that I'm the administrator who have access to approve, authorize the work order and sales order that gets into the SAP system. In your company or organization, you would have multiple people doing various jobs, but I'm just one person here, so I have to take the role of everyone for the purpose of the demo. Before I get into the Power App and the demo, I wanted to also open up the backend SAP systems. So you would see the real-time data getting in and out of SAP via Power Platform and Premium SAP Connector. So this is my SAP system, and then I would log into my SAP ECM dev instance as well. Now, I do not have access to data which I would want to show in terms of real-term Coca-Cola or retailer related data. I've been given data by the SAP team, and this is all I have. And they do refresh these data every 24 hours. So even if I try to upload my own product and the orders here, it just vanishes. So please bear with me on that one, and I do apologize for that. Now we have prepped all the backend systems, the likes of SAPs and Easy Access and other systems. That's all ready and working and kicking on. What we would now do is we would go into Power Apps and start looking into the use cases and how it all works together. Okay, so this is going to sign in the backend, the SAP environment. That's totally fine. So what we would do is we'll go into Power Apps and we go one by one. For example, if I click on Product Master, it's going to connect at the backend of the SAP system. And these are the data that's coming from the backend SAP system. So as a user, I really do not have to, log into the complex, not so user friendly UI screen of SAP, which is this. Rather, I could have this Power App in my mobile device and look into the data that I really want to. I could filter by the products. In your case, it could be your Coca Cola offering, and you could sort it out. You could refresh, and all the stuff is possible within the Power App screen. I really don't have to come here to, dig into those data. It's all easily available. And what difference it makes? It makes a lot of difference. One, it's available in your mobile, tablet, user friendly, and you can customize this whole home screen the way that the user wants, and it's easy and it's configurable. Plus, you also have offline access where you could input those data in here, and when you get into a network zone, the data gets in automatically. However, you really cannot carry the SAP product with you on a handheld devices with a lot of option that Power Platform provides for you to make this UI seamless work for you. Now, let's go ahead and make some changes and see how the data gets into SAP real time. So what we will do is we can pick any product for a demo purpose. I would just pick this one, audio video cable. And I just want to change the price from 29.99 to, let's say, 929.99. So once I click on this save button, what happens, or what you want it to do, is go ahead and update the SAP system. So we would come here and we would search for that particular product. I would rather copy this. It says audio video kit 4M and paste it here. So you see here the data has been changed to 929.99. What you saw earlier was it was 29.99. All right. We'll come back and do one more update as well because I wanted to show how it should reflects in SAP first and then do the changes, which I can do it again one more time as well. But let's keep moving on with the rest of the demo. Now you have the option to upload new products if you get from your supplier, and if you're working with resellers, distributors, third party people, you can add new products as well, which would go into the SAP system automatically, and you can fetch the data as well. Now I'm using the SAP O data connector as part of the HyperAutomation to pull the list of suppliers. So you would have a lot of suppliers in here, and if you already have Power BI, it's easy to just integrate that onto the Power Apps. And all this while I'm on just one Power App, I did not go to Power BI at all, where I have to have multi-screen to see what's in the Power BI report. And that's the beauty of this seamless integrated solution that Microsoft offers with Power Platform and SAP Connector. So these are real-time data that's coming from Power BI, and user can just access the Power BI reports in their mobile within the Power Apps client. Now, some users doesn't have to really go and do some transaction, like executives and the supply chain manager and the asset managers or whoever that is. They just need some reports and see it, so they can just come here and look into this Power BI. You have an option to print that particular screen as well within Power Apps. So I don't have a printer, so I'm not going to show that, but you saw the preview. And if you want to email that particular report to your end user within your system, that's totally possible. It uses the same Outlook principle, but configured for Power Apps, and it would pick my name from the Active Directory, and if I click on that, it would just pick my name. And if I were to search for other colleague with the letter JE, it picks Jeff as well. So for the demo purpose, I'll just stick to my name. I'll just say supplier list, and then click on send button. An email is sent automatically with that message. Now going back to the product master one more time. So we wanted to see real time, how we could do the changes. Let's take this one for example, 649 Astro Phone 6. So I come here, Astro Phone 6, and you see here it's 649. What we will do is we'll make it 6649, or rather make it 5649, and click on save. And I come back to SAP. This is the one that we made changes. All you have to do is hit refresh, and you would see that particular product's rate has been changed. You see here 5649. It was 649 in the past, and we did make the changes using Power Apps. Now these are all very rudimentary manual tasks, one by one. In terms of real use cases, you probably will use some of these, but typically you want to automate this, right? You don't want manual intervention. You don't want people looking for the product item and making those changes. And that's going to come in a short while. So I talked about Power BI integration as well. So you have that, and notification via email is available. And I've also plugged in a virtual agent, which is part of Microsoft Power Platform offering, where I'm embedding that particular virtual agent within the Power Apps context. So let's say I have to query some data on the SAP system. I could do this as well. For example, you could pick any of those product names and you could just ask for questions, HT6100. The system would return you the details. Now, this is only a sample demo. You could, of course, ask the chatbot to bring in as much as details you want. For example, sales volume, product availability, regional sales revenue, annual revenue, whatever you have in the SAP system. You could easily bring that into a chatbot. Now, I'm not creating this chatbot as a standalone app. I'm integrating that within Power Apps. And you saw all this while I'm still in the same screen within a Power Apps where I'm showing you all the multiple possibilities that's available using Power Platform Stack. Okay. So now the last one, and that's where it is critical because this is more of the hyper automation scenario that we were talking about. You get a file, manual file, handwritten file, JPEG, PDF, Excel, email, Outlook, CSV, XML, JSON, whatever. You could take that, use the SAP connector and hyperautomation bots to process it. There's multiple ways to do it. One is you could attach that particular file from your local hard disk and then send that to the system to process, or you could email that for the system to process. I have a few of those documents here, SAP product and items and stuff like that. I could attach it and I could click on process order and it will go and start processing automatically. There's nothing else to be done. But in some of the use cases we've seen in Vietnam, in Singapore, and Malaysia, co-partners is they do get a lot of emails and they also get attachments. And the attachments could be document, PDF, or anything. So I thought it might be worth to show the use case relevant to that particular use case. So in here, I do have the sample document, and it's a vendor file, if you will, and it has to go into your SAP system for fulfillment and any other process that you wanted to initiate. For this demo, what I'm going to do is, the goal here is to send these items into the system, all these three products, right? It could be thousands, millions, and the AI builder would take care of it. It'll process it automatically. Now, we could change this the way you want to. I would change this to JA, MG, and AV. Can change this name to Coke 2040, Coke Gold, and I'll just save it. Now, before I do any further processing, I want to go and check if these products are available on the SAP system, right? We don't want to duplicate that, or at least show the demo where this data is going to go. Right. So what I'll do is I'll click here. I'll click on search. Click on J1001. As you can see, it's not there. And likewise for MG1002, it's not there. And the last one is AV1003. It's not there. So what we want to do now is process this file automatically, not key in into the SAP system. And we are going to use AI Builder at the backend. We're going to use Outlook, where a vendor sends the email to a designated email ID. It could be a Teams email ID or a GAL, if you will, and that would pick it. So for the purpose, what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this into a PDF file. I'm going to cut this and put that in a folder called SAP Demo AI Builder. That's right here. So this is the PDF file that we're going to process. Okay. So now at this point of time, what I will do is I will go to Outlook, which is here. Sorry, give me a second. I would close my Outlook. All right. So we're going to send this email into the system and see how it processes. So click on new email ID. For the demo purpose, I'm using my own email ID to process the file. Say Coke PO order for processing. All right, so now I do have to attach that file. That file is going to come from my local system. So in a real world, you would get this file from your vendor or supplier. This is the one with timestamp 21.4. I attach that one and I click on send. So now an email has been sent, and that is it could be a PO, it could be a work order, item order, product master update, bulk order processing, whatever that it could be. And we don't want to do a lot of manual work to get that into the SAP system. And this is the file that we just edited and we send it to the email. The system at the back end would start triggering those AI Builder alert, and the bot would pick that file and start to crunch those data and automatically update SAP. So there's not much a user has to do. So what I've done is I've used Teams for that particular approval process. So you don't want uh, you know all this stuff to just go in without approval. As you can see, the process is already started. Automatically, you're getting the email from the document that we just sent. So the bot is working at the background and triggering these alerts. Now I'm on my Teams channel, and then I'm here on the Teams where you see based on the timestamp, which is 9:22, and here's 9:23, and this is the product that we send. So I have an option to approve or reject. Now it is optional for you to have this approval mechanism. We strongly recommend you have that approval in place. And you see it's coming as a serial approval. And you can do a mass approval or a bulk approval if you will. You don't have to keep clicking it every time you have to process those files into the SAP system. And I click on the third one. And parallelly, you're also getting that alerts in email. So now this is very useful if you have to send this notification to the users, right? And if you notice, the system is only picking the key things, which is these items, and it's kind of avoiding the other stuff which you don't want to, right? And you could configure the AI Builder to pick what you want it to. Now, the half part of the process is almost done. What we have to check now is, okay, what happened in the SAP system? Did this product get in there? So we would move into SAP. We would search for this product, and it's in here. So these are the product which you just sent in as a email as a processing order, and you got it automatically. A builder has processed it, bot has run its job, and it has sent the data into the SAP system. Now let's search for the other two ones, and that product is available as well. Finally, AV 1003, that product is not available. Why? And that's by design, because if you look at this file, all these are trained models. It picks the quality data. You don't want junk data to get into your system. In here, there's no product name called X, right? So there's a AI builder intelligence working in here because I trained that model. For example, if the name is just a single text, to not process that particular item. Now, this could be returned back to the supplier to correct it and send the right file. And in the olden days, this is not possible. You have to manually key in and then send it back to them, and then there's a lot of time wastage there, right? And this is a wonderful productive usage of AI Builder and RPA automation, where you could check for the quality of the data that gets into SAP proactively rather than going and digging and fixing it post uploading the data into SAP system. In just one use case where you could see this happening right now. So this is not getting into the SAP system. If I correct this file and type in the proper name or any proper name, the file would process it and then you would see the data. So that kind of completes an end-to-end use cases of you know SAP surround automation. Now, finally, what we could also do is we could see if the data is available for us for chatbot to query. You see here, the product is available very instantaneously. It only took us less than 1 minute or 2 minutes rather, and you don't have to really refresh a screen or really need to do an polling integration. It's all real time, near real time at the back end, and you would get those in every other system in Power BI, Teams, Outlook, chatbot. In this case, it's virtual agent, and also in the SAP system. So that kind of concludes the end of this particular demo. Before we close on, I want to show you one other demo, which is nothing but unattended Power Automate desktop, where the same work can be done in a different way, where you could just train the system to do processing. It could be month-end processing, batch-end processing, quarterly closure, stuff like that. And I do have a bot which would run automatically after I click on play, and without my manual input or hand input, whatever script that I created in terms of opening an app, it could be an SAP, and whatever you see here in front of the screen, it's automatic. I'm not using my mouse or cursor, and I'm not typing it myself. So if you train this bot to do this job, invoice creation and invoice approval, the system would automatically start doing this work routinely. So there's lots of automation possibilities, which eases your time and effort, and also increases the accuracy and user productivity as well. I hope this was useful and it was insightful. Thank you.